Vaccines have made an enormous contribution to global health. The new COVID-19 vaccine has brought out a lot of excitement and doubts all around the world. In this video, we'll be talking about the different types of vaccines and how they're made. But first, we're going to take you under a microscope to give you a quick biology lesson and show you how your cells get infected with COVID. Human cells are made up of different structures, but what holds everything in place is called the cell membrane. Everything that comes in and out of the cell has to pass through the cell membrane. Receptors located on the cell membrane allow molecules to bond to the cell and eventually produce responses inside the cell, kind of like a little pathway entrance. Now, let's say you come in contact with COVID-19. Once the virus enters your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your lungs, throat, and nose. And its main goal is to make 1 billion copies of itself. So to do this, it looks for one of your living healthy cells and attacks it. Now, let's take a closer look. The spike from the virus will bind to a receptor molecule from your cell membrane, just like a key in a lock. This allows the virus to enter your cell, and through a complex process, its genetic material is then copied and then released out of your cell, causing the virus to replicate itself in order to repeat this process all over again, spreading through your body, causing pneumonia-like symptoms. Now that we have gone through how the virus invades your body, let's look at how this problem is currently being solved. Researchers all over the world have worked extremely hard to deliver a solution to this deadly virus. The production time of the COVID-19 vaccine has beat previous records. Making a vaccine usually takes up to 10 to 15 years. The fastest vaccine developed was the mumps vaccine, which took about 4 years. But what really has people concerned is that the COVID-19 vaccine went from development to production in less than 1 year. But if you think about it, the mumps vaccine was developed in the 1960s. There wasn't even half as much technology, money, or intelligence working on the same thing at the same time.
According to the World Health Organization, there are 4 traditional types of vaccines and 2 novel approaches to vaccines. Traditional include live-attenuated vaccines and activated vaccines, the toxoid and the subunit vaccine. The novel approaches include the viral vector vaccine and the genetic vaccine, which include both mRNA and DNA vaccines. These 2 approaches were used to develop the COVID-19 vaccines that we will be covering in this video. Our sources for this portion will include the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control at vaccine.gov. For the viral vector vaccine approach, scientists use the genes of the virus that they want to create immunity against and insert it into another germ, a virus that is harmless against humans, to transport into the human body. The other virus, once inside the body, will induce a strong immune response from the body. However, the viral vector, the virus that will be used to transport the genetic material, has to be investigated to ensure safeness and see that it does not create any negative reaction. This method for manufacturing a vaccine is used in the novel Oxford-AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine from Europe. For this approach, scientists are using as a vector a chimpanzee flu virus that, although will make a chimpanzee sick, it is completely harmless to humans. Genetic vaccines consist on DNA or mRNA molecules that are used to teach your body how to make proteins, like genetic instructions. These instructions will tell the body how to create the spike that the germ has at its surface, the part that infects us. By doing that, the body will create antibodies without needing any version of the virus inside. The advantage is that the design is quick and easy. However, this type of vaccine is novel and has only been used for COVID-19 vaccines. The COVID-19 vaccines on the market that will use this approach are Pfizer and Moderna, both using the mRNA approach.
Now, let's take a look at some benefits like effectiveness and efficacy for the 3 vaccines that are currently available to prevent systematic COVID-19 infection. First on our list is Pfizer. This vaccine has been shown to have a 95% effectiveness at preventing systematic COVID-19 infection, with an efficacy rate that is not affected by any demographic factors like race or age. Secondly, Moderna vaccines have been reported to have a 94% effectiveness, which is not significantly different from the Pfizer vaccine. In contrast to the Pfizer efficacy, Moderna has an efficacy that is slightly lower in individuals that are older than 65. Finally, AstraZeneca vaccine has been reported to have a 90% effectiveness, which is lower than the other two vaccines. The efficacy is as low as 60%. However, according to some research, the minimum efficacy is around 50 to 60% for a vaccine. In addition, both Pfizer and Moderna have received the U.S. Emergency Use Authorization. The EUA is supported by the Secretary of Health and Human Services for circumstances in which to justify the use of vaccines during this pandemic. This means that the FDA criteria have been met due to the scientific evidence that shows the vaccines may be effective to prevent COVID-19.
With anything new or old, there are risks. The same applies for the COVID-19 vaccines. Here, we are going to illustrate the symptoms and risks of AstraZeneca, Moderna, and the Pfizer vaccine. The AstraZeneca COVID vaccine, throughout clinical trials, had side effects of pain and tenderness at the injection site, headaches, tiredness, muscle pain, chills, fever, joint pain, and nausea. These symptoms were mild to moderate side effects, and within a few days after vaccination, it would get better. Within the trials, it affected more than 1 in 10 people. The Moderna vaccine triggers anaphylaxis on rare occasions. This is a severe and potentially life-threatening reaction. Patients who develop this must be treated with epinephrine and also may be hospitalized to ensure that their airway stays open. The Pfizer COVID vaccine has similar risks as the AstraZeneca vaccine side effects, such as the pain and tenderness at the injection site, headaches, tiredness, muscle pain, chills, fever, joint pain, and nausea, with the addition of swollen lymph nodes and non-severe allergic reactions, such as sneezing, swelling of the eyes, inflammation, cough. As a disclaimer from the FDA, these may not all be the possible side effects for the COVID-19 vaccines. There may be serious and unexpected side effects that occur. All the vaccines are still being studied.
Now, let's do a really quick recap. We spoke about the process of how the coronavirus enters your cell and replicates itself. Then after, we spoke about the 3 types of vaccines: the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, and the AstraZeneca vaccine. We later explained how each one is made, their effectiveness, pros and cons of each, and lastly we went over the side effects and risks of each one. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you really enjoy every second of it. If you have any questions, leave it down below. As always, remember to wear your mask, wash your hands, and obviously stay 6 feet apart.